Today on Comicstorian, we're going to tell you the Red Hood's origin in the Batman the Animated Series universe. This is the Comicstorian channel where I take some of your favorite trade paperbacks and single issues. I break them down into digestible bites, cutting out a lot of the fluff and giving you a synopsis. The purpose of this video is so that you can understand what is going on in the world of comic books and either get these issues for more context or go get the next issues because you know what's happening. All alterations to the panel, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Today we're going to be continuing our coverage of Batman the Animated Series Continues, or The Adventure Continues. It's basically supposed to be the next season of that classic Batman the Animated Series. But there's been a character that has been popping up in all the previous episodes, and we all know him as Jason Todd, aka the Red Hood. Well, today's video is a little bit longer than normal because they actually put a whole bunch of issues into retelling the origins of Red Hood in this universe. So let's get into that storyline right now. All you really need to know is that Red Hood has been stalking the Bat family and that Deathstroke is in the city somewhere. Let's go. In the deep city of Gotham, a mysterious stranger is looking through his binoculars, watching the Joker play solitaire in his secret hideout. But the Joker glances out the window before turning back to his newest thug, the super soldier known as the Straight Man. "It appears that we have a visitor, Straight Man. Someone perched atop the Ferris wheel," Joker tells his comedian sidekick as he continues to curl a crazy amount of weight. The two share a joke back and forth before venturing out into the night. Our stranger pulls up his red hood and prepares to leap down, but the Ferris wheel begins to shake as the Straight Man hammers one of the struts with a massive hammer. The stranger has no choice but to leap away, landing into a roll, firing his pistol at the goon, but the round does nothing and he dodges out of the way of a Ferris wheel cart. "Beep, beep!" the Joker shouts as he drives by with a bumper car throwing a grenade, the stranger managing to dodge away as the clown and his goon drive off into the night laughing. A short while later, Batman joins Commissioner Gordon and the other cops in investigating the scene, with Gordon telling him that it was the Joker. But Batman discovers the discarded pistol nearby. He wasn't alone. He had a visitor. I'd say offhand, it was a friendly call. And later, as Batman says to the Bat computer, it's both him and Alfred that are surprised by the prints. They belong to Jason Todd. And Alfred's eyes go wide. It can't be. It's impossible. He's dead. You saw it yourself. Alfred tells him, and Tim stalks up, not surprised by what he's hearing, knowing that their mysterious stalker had to be a former member of the team, and he demands answers, but Bruce refuses to explain Jason Todd, pulling on his mask, moving towards the Batmobile. Before he leaves, he stops, and he pauses. "Tell him, Alfred. Tell him everything," Batman whispers, and the Batmobile roars to life as he peels out of the cave. So Alfred takes Tim upstairs and tells him the history of Jason Todd. "It all started with the Wolves," Alfred begins. The Wolves were a street gang in Gotham City, and they had an initiation ritual where the newest member of the gang would wear a red hood and act as a lookout for their heists. Batman had looked into the events, and he arrived too late for one of the Red Hoods. This one had slipped from his lookout spot and plummeted to his death. He quickly discovered the gang's hideout, and when he arrived, he discovered that they had already been under attack. Looking inside, he saw a skilled young man fighting off the entire gang. A young man wearing a red hoodie. He went for a fallen gun, and that is when Batman stopped him. And Batman decided to take that young man under his wing. Jason Todd, whose brother had fallen and died when he acted as the Red Hood. Eventually, Bruce accepted Jason Todd into the Bat family, allowing him to take over the spot made vacant when Dick Grayson had left. Alfred and Barbara weren't so sure, as Jason already showed signs of aggression, and Bruce refused to allow Jason to put on the costume until he was ready. But Jason broke the rules one night, stealing the costume and joining the Bat family in a fiery battle with the Firefly. The battle quickly ended and the pair returned to the cave to have their own fight. Bruce was furious that Jason would go against his wishes, but Jason won him over. "Bruce, I'm not Dick Grayson. I can't be. I won't be. I'm Jason Todd, and I swear that I'll work to honor the trust that you've put in me. All I ask is a chance," Jason said to Bruce as he extends his hand. There was a moment of hesitation, but the two finally shook hands. Things started well enough, but Alfred continues to tell Tim that Jason seemed to enjoy doling out punishment on the more devious of the Batman rogues, things finally coming to head on Halloween night. You see, Scarecrow had taken over the TV station, using the airwaves to send out a fear-inducing signal to the rest of Gotham. As he shattered a window to hear the screams from below, Jason leaped through the window and kicked him in the face. Batman and Batgirl quickly leaped into the goons, but Robin moved against the Scarecrow, punching him hard in the face. Crane became frightened at the young man's rage, but Robin wasn't listening anymore, pushing him forward to the shattered window as Crane tried to surrender. "Since you like to scream so much, we'll let them hear you all over the town," Robin shouted as he punched Crane out the window, with the villain plummeting to the city below. But he stopped short as Batman caught him with a grappling hook. "You could have killed him!" Batman shouted at Robin after Scarecrow was safely brought back inside. "One less oddball! Maybe now the creeps will know that we mean business," Robin snapped at Batman. Back in the cave, Alfred tried to talk some sense into Bruce, knowing that Jason was dangerous. And Bruce finally agreed, not aware that Jason was listening to them. "Well, at least now I know what you really think of me," Jason shouted as he revealed himself, rushing for his Robin costume. "I'm gone!" Bruce tried to stop him, but Jason whirled around, kicking him in the face, knocking him back. He then turned, leaping onto the motorcycle. "You never trusted me, any of you!" he shouted as he roared off into the night. "And you never saw him again?" Tim asks Alfred, the man nodding, explaining that Bruce had one last confrontation with Jason Todd. Meanwhile, back in the city, Batman steps through the darkened door of the Wolves' Old Bar. "World's greatest detective. Took you longer than I thought. But I knew you'd figure it out eventually. First place we met. It's no Wayne Manor, but sentimental value. You know," Jason told him from the shadows. "What happened? Where have you been?" Batman asked him, and Jason nodded, telling him, "I took some time off. I found myself. After recovering from massive blood loss and trauma, of course." He turns around, revealing himself. "I also worked on a new look." He begins to show Batman his Red Hood uniform. "Jason, come home. I'm so sorry for everything that happened. I'll do anything to make it right." Extending his hand, asking for the same trust that Jason once did. But Red Hood shakes his head, pointing out that Bruce has gone soft. That he didn't even notice the full bottles of alcohol at the abandoned bar. Especially that they stink of gasoline, he says as he whirls around, drawing out his pistol, and he fires, shattering the bottles, starting a fire. Batman leaps to safety, and he turns to see Red Hood escaping up onto a rooftop, waving goodbye. Batman moved through the city, finally arriving at Leslie Tompkins' clinic, and there he tells her that Jason is alive, and that he might come here. Emotionally, he's angrier than ever. "I thought he might come to you. He always liked you," Batman tells her. Memories flashing through her mind, memories of patching up the young boy, of his wild spirit, and anger begins to fill her as she points at Batman. "He was wild and you let him run wild. He wasn't just another runaway kid who disappeared into the night. He was your responsibility. Mine. Alfred's. All of ours. You made us culpable to what happened." She finally tells him to go, and Batman retreats into the night. Meanwhile, back with Alfred, he continues the story, explaining that Jason began to work in the city alone, still wearing the Robin costume, but now he was barbaric and angry. He showed no restraint when dealing with Batman's rogues, and it would all come to head when he would use a gun on Killer Croc, putting the villain into the intensive care unit at Arkham for almost a full year. Batman continued to work to track him down, but Jason always seemed one step ahead. Meanwhile, Joker and Harley had had a bit of a falling out, with the two of them apparently having split because of this, because Harley seemed intent on destroying everywhere that she and Joker had gone as a couple. Jason tracked her down, trying to stop her, and the two fought briefly, trading blows back and forth as Jason dodges her hammer. But finally, Jason got the upper hand on her. "We both want to be rid of the Joker. Tell me where he is, and you'll only wind up in the emergency room." Jason growled at her as he knocked her down, but Joker came up behind Jason, shocking him with the joy buzzer, and the young vigilante fell to the ground. Staring up at the laughing Joker and Harley, Joker reached into his jacket, pulling out a bundle of flowers. "Oh, Mr. J, you really do care," Harley says with a big smile, but Joker turns, tossing the flowers onto Jason's body. "On second thought, they're more fitting for this young fella." "It was a trick," Jason whispers as he falls unconscious. When Jason finally awoke, he was strapped to a table in Joker's lair. Joker smiling as he leaned into the young hero. "You've been a busy bird lately, and an unhappy one too, it seems." Joker says with a smile. "I'll be putting my hands around your neck," Robin snaps at him, but Joker turns to his goons, pointing out all of Robin's hostility. "Oh, if only there was a trusted professional that we could call!" Harley appears in her doctor's coat, pointing out that Jason is insane and suffering from violent tendencies. "Know his father. I concur." Joker says as he studies the upside down chart. He finally tosses it away, reaching for a crowbar. Junior here has become a real plague to our kind, he says as he begins to hit Jason, and then he swings again and again, drawing blood and looks of concern from Harley as he hits again and again until Harley stops him. Roughing up the punk is one thing, but killing him? Harley asks, and Joker turns to her. Did you think that we were going to give him a love tap and let him go? He turns back to the beating, ordering the goons to take Harley out of it. Batman arrives shortly, finding the grisly scene and ordering Joker to step away from Robin. Hey, Bats! Even you've got to admit that kid was cruising for a bruising, Joker tells him as he drops the crowbar. He turns, ordering his men to open fire, and a nearby hydrogen tank is hit, and the whole place explodes, engulfed in flames. Joker races to escape in his car, but another explosion flips it over, trapping him underneath. Batman moves quickly, freeing the wounded Jason. Bruce, I'm dying. I'm all broken up. Jason gasps as the flames roar around them. As he continues to bleed, he asks that Batman finish the Joker. For me, for everyone he's hurt, for everyone he's going to hurt, Bruce. Jason coughs and he hands Bruce the crowbar. Batman stalks over the Joker, but uses the crowbar to free him from the wreck. He moves to help the Joker as Jason is yelling, No! You won't save him! You can't! I won't let you! He shouts as he tips over another hydrogen tank. Batman is forced to flee as another explosion rocks the building. Outside, he screams for Jason, but rushing back inside, he only finds the tattered remains of the costume. Alfred informs Tim that Bruce returned to the scene for several weeks, searching for any sign of Jason or if he had escaped, but found nothing. They both turn and see Batman at the top of the stairs. What happened to Jason was the biggest mistake of my life, and I'll never let that happen again. Not to you, not to Barbara, not to anyone. I promise. Batman says as he walks down the stairs, holding out his hand to Tim. Tim nods, reaching for him. I'd be a sorry excuse for a Robin if I fell for this crap. He snaps as he grabs Batman, flipping him to the floor. Jason chuckles as he removes the mask. Not bad, kid. What gave me away? No Batmobile? He asks, but Tim shakes his head, pointing out that Bruce would never apologize. Alfred pulls out his bolo gun, ordering Tim to get away as he fires, but Jason dodges, and the bolo shatters the costume display behind him. Jason moves, chucking a batarang, knocking Alfred out, and he dodges another blow from Tim, knocking the young boy out. He then grabs the Robin uniform, throwing Tim over his shoulder as he walks out of the cave. Later, Leslie clicks on the lights to her clinic, finding Red Hood rummaging through the meds cabinet. Thanks for the light, Grandma. Hard to read these labels in the dark. The Red Hood tells her as she steps forward, trying to talk some sense into Jason. She reaches for his mask, but he stops her. You don't want to see my face. I've had some work done on it. I'm not as pretty as I used to be. Not as patient either. He says as he smacks her away and continues to try and talk to him, trying to turn him away from his current path, but he pushes her away and heads for the exit. As he walks down the street, he tells her to make a house call to the manor. The old man didn't look too good when I left him. A short time later, she calls Bruce and informs him that Alfred is fine. You were right. There's something wrong with Jason. Save him, please. As she hangs up, Bruce begins to study the locations where Red Hood has been spotted, knowing that he has been hiding within that area, and he finally heads out for the Batmobile with Barbara joining him. Meanwhile, in a secret location, water splashes on Tim's face to wake him up. He struggles to his feet, surprised to find himself in a glass box. Red Hood waving at him, showing him that he took Tim's utility belt. I'm afraid you're completely powerless. If it helps, I know the feeling. Water continues to pour into the glass box as Red Hood turns away. What do you want from me? The breaststroke, or whatever keeps you afloat. It could be a while. Red Hood calls over his shoulder as he leaves. At the Iceberg Lounge, Joker sits with Penguin, asking for a little bit of money so that he can leave the city for a while. Don't kid, Joker. I know what's going on. You got a hitman on your tail, and he's getting close. So close that I'd like to see how it plays out. Poking the clown with his umbrella. But Joker smiles, snapping his fingers, motioning to Straight Man to ask Penguin again. But before the super soldier can move forward, the door bursts open to reveal Mr. Wing, and the two begin to fight, breaking through Penguin's office window and falling down into the nightclub below. As they slam into the floor, Straight Man manages to knock Mr. Wing out. What a team! We're like Abbott and Costello! Joker cheers, but a voice calls out from behind him. Except as always, you're the only one laughing. Joker turns as Red Hood leaps at him, firing sedative darts from his gun. He fires again and again into both Joker and Straight Man, leaping forward and kicking the goon from the ledge and onto the iceberg in the middle of the club. He whirls, throwing a grenade at the chandelier high above, allowing it to crash down on the goon. For a moment, Red Hood glares at the Penguin, reaching down, picking up the Joker, turning to leave. "Tell Batman Red Hood was here. He should know where to find me." A short time later, Batman and Batgirl investigate the scene, with a very unhappy Penguin shouting in their ear the whole time. It's Barbara who notices the wet footprints, and Oswald does remember that Red Hood had a clammy smell to him. "Of course," Batman gasps, rushing outside with Batgirl, explaining to her that Red Hood must have taken over Killer Croc's lair. But the woman doesn't respond as Batman turns to see that she has been hit by a dart. He gets into the Batmobile, pulling it out of her back, another dart hitting him in the chest as he looks up to see Jason in the sewer grate. "My last shot, Batman. Just for you." Batman finally wakes up to see the smiling face of the Joker staring at him. "Oh, there you are. Hi. Now get me out of here!" Joker shouts at him as he holds up his cuffed hands. Batman looks up at Robin, who tells him that he is fine. "How long he stays that way is up to you," Red Hood tells him as he stalks down the stairs, nodding to their belt, asking if they should get to it before Robin drowns. "You underestimate him. He's used to the pressure. He's been around the block," Batman says to Red Hood, trying to convey a message to Tim. Robin gets it, wrapping his cape around the water pipe into his box, starting to build up pressure. Suddenly, it dawns on Joker who Red Hood is, as he begins to laugh as he picks the cuffs that are binding him. "You're the kid that he left to die while he was busy saving me! I always wondered what happened to you!" Red Hood cocks his head to the side. "Really?" "No!" Joker says with a shake of his head. He waves at them all as he begins to head for the exit, allowing them to work through their family issues. But Red Hood pulls out his pistol, shooting the clown in the shoulder. With that, he turns and picks up a crowbar from the table and tosses it to Batman's feet. "I'm going to give you one chance to fix this. The only way to make this right. Kill the clown the same way that he tried to kill me." Batman shakes his head. "You know I won't." Red Hood points to the glass box, telling him that Robin will die, and there's no way to escape. "For a weak, immature Robin, maybe." Joker clutches his shoulder. "Wow!" "Quiet!" Batman says over his shoulder, but Red Hood isn't done, tossing the Joker his gun, telling him to shoot at Batman so that he can kill him in self-defense. But Joker tosses back the gun. "Forcing me and Bats to fight? Nah, ain't no joke in that, bucko!" He tells him, laughing at the Red Hood, telling him, "This'll never work!" If Red Hood shoots the Joker, Batman will take him in and the GCPD will unmask him, which will allow them to figure out who Batman really is. He continues to laugh at the joke of all of it, but stops when he hears beeping in his pocket. "Oops, forgot about this thing," he says as he pulls the tracker out of his pocket, and Straight Man suddenly springs out of the water, destroying the chamber around them. "Planting that homing device in your head was such a good idea!" Joker cheers as he grabs the gun, preparing to shoot the pinned Red Hood in the head, but Robin suddenly is behind him, clunking him on the back of the head with a discarded crowbar. He tosses it to Batman, allowing the hero to smack the Straight Man away. But the goon throws him into the wall, with Batman avoiding another punch. The wall cracks and the debris begin to knock the Straight Man away, sending him and the Joker flying away in a torrent of water. Red Hood starts to fall, but the crowbar gets stuck in the wall and his jacket catches it. Batman reaches out for him, but Jason removes his mask. "Bruce, you just don't know how to let me go." Batman tells him that he never will, that he should have come back with him. "For how long? Till I can't live up to your code again?" Robin calls to Batman as the place is crumbling around them, and Jason nods, ripping his jacket. "Save the Robin who needs you," he calls to Bruce as he plummets into the water below. The ceiling explodes and Batgirl reveals herself to them, calling for them to hurry. A short time later, they all stand on the pier, looking out over the bay as the Bat drones search for any sign of Jason Todd. No sign of the Joker or Straight Man, and no sign of Jason either. Batgirl tells him, and Batman looks at them, wondering if he made the same mistake with them that he did with Jason, bringing them into this dangerous life. Jason made his choice, just like we have. And we're not going anywhere, both Batgirl and Robin tell him. Later, Jason opens his eyes to see Slade Wilson and Sonny looking down at him. Slade smiles, telling him that he needs to rest, that he has great potential. "If it's a safe home you're looking for, look no further. Often, a new family will appear when you need it most," Deathstroke tells him, before leaving Jason alone with his thoughts. And there you have it, the Batman the Animated Series Continues version of Under the Red Hood, how they've introduced Red Hood into the lore. Personally, I thought this was great. It was a cool way to tell us the Red Hood story that we know, but then add in stuff and change it up just enough that it was a new experience. But what do you guys think about this origin for Red Hood? Do you like this version better or worse than the one that already exists in main continuity? And don't forget, if you want to get more of the Batman the Animated Series Continues, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can join the Comicstorian family today. Let's all become comic book experts together. And I'll see you next time right here.